Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host Zoe with my co-host on the other side, Can Two. What a series from the Houston Astros. Had that classic rematch of the 2021 World Series. And if you remember last year, the Astros went to Truist Park and swept the Braves. Well, Braves kind of countered back this year and swept the Astros at home. So this is the third time the Astros been swept this season. Not a great start for them, I would say. But what else you have to say, Cantu?
Oh yeah, they kind of just returned a favor on that one. It was the Astros performed under par on this one. I think that's best way to put it. The nice way to put it is just not Astros baseball that most people are used to. It was just a bad series, I would say. Like honestly, it was just like, and we'll talk about that. Of what made it like this. But I mean, the Astros had their chance. Hunter Brown was good. They had their chance today. It's just they couldn't get it done. They couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, I would say pitching wasn't the issue really in this series for the Astros. If anything, if we're going to talk about the pitching aspect of the game, it'd probably be the back end. Josh Hader
Yeah,
gave up some runs. Ryan Presley gave up a little bit of runs.
yeah.
But offense in general for the Astros in this series was just non-existent, I would say.
I I think there's only been one or two games, or a handful of games this year where literally every Astros weapon, which is the pitching, bullpen, and offense, were in sync. It's been
Mhm.
like a handful of times. Usually, when, like you said, pitching was great today, but the bullpen was off, and or the pitching was great yesterday, but the offense wasn't getting it done. I think there's only been a handful of games where everything's been in sync, but it's usually something early on for the Astros.
I would say this team right now, the 2024 Houston Astros, is inconsistent. One day it's hitting that's doing phenomenal, and the pitching could be off, or vice versa. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not consistent enough to say the Astros starters, bullpen, and offense are producing in the same game in the same time. It's just what six. They've won 6 games. Maybe some of them, a handful of them, maybe they've done great, but right now, I mean, record right now is 6-14.
yeah.
Not a great start for them, but real quick to the comments, Josh. Hey guys, how's it going, Josh? Gary Longhofer says I am down bad. Maybe there's a little bit brighter days coming for the Astros as there's still 100 plus games left. However, I mean, time is ticking because the Astros record right now is probably one of the worst in Major League Baseball. I know in the American League, I would say, but Major League Baseball, I mean, they're right there. I would say coming out of Rockies.
Yeah, I think the only team that's probably doing worse, Chicago White Sox. I think they've only won 2 games.
Mhm.
Uh, Maybe because I think the Athletics are ahead of the Astros. Yeah, the Athletics are 8 and
Yeah, the Astros
11.
are just last in the AL West right now.
Yeah, okay. So I think there's a few teams that are worse than the Astros. It's the Marlins, who are 4-15, the Rockies, who are 4-14, and the White Sox, who are 2-15. That's it.
So they don't have the worst record in Major League Baseball. But if you would have said in the beginning of the season that the Astros are going to be last in the AL West as of right now, and the way that they're performing, I would have thought you would be crazy because the team on paper just looks good. The bullpen looks good. Starting rotation, yeah, right now it's kind of depleted, but you're getting some key players back like Verlander and Framber, which we'll talk here in a minute. But before we get started, Angel, I mean, what else you got to say?
Yeah, and let's look at the schedule first. I'm sorry, this record first of all. If you go back from 2001, the Astros went 8-10 in 2001. They finished off 95-67. They lost in the World Series in 2022. They
2021,
sorry, sorry,
2020.
sorry, 2021. My bad. In 2022, the Astros were 9-9. They finished with 106 wins, 56 losses. They won the World Series in that one. In 2023, 8-10, 9-72. Astros lost 8 LCS. So it's kind of been like and we kind of talked about it in an earlier podcast that the Astros usually start slow, but it's kind of like I know the fans get frustrated, but I feel this is a team that's going to pick it up, and it's just a matter of when. It's just a due time. I think with the Astros, you got to be patient because it just takes one hot streak and they're back in this. And if you look at the division, they're only about 4.5 games back. Like they're not off. It's just that like the Rangers are in first place right now with 10 wins, and the Astros just won that series over there. So, I mean, it's not. Yes, it looks bad, but there's still hope for the Astros.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest takeaway I would say for the Astros is that they're 4.5 games back from the American League West. Like I said in last episode, I said the AL West would be up for grabs if it was September right now. Whoever is
Yeah.
going to go to the playoffs, that's your best bet because the AL East, we've talked about that's a stacked division. AL Central is not a very strong division, but they do got some good teams. Twins are struggling right now. Guardians are playing at a good time, as well as the Kansas City Royals. And then, of course, you got the AOS, the reigning World Series champion Rangers. Mariners right now, shockingly, their starting pitching is not off to a great start, but they have the starting pitching. And it's just like the Astros right now, too. I mean, they have pitching, they have the offense. The back end of the bullpen is one of the best in baseball, but right now, they're just not showing it. They're just not
And
showing
then
it at all right now.
and then with the Astros schedule, every team they face is above 500. Uh, Literally. Now, I think with the Nationals, they get. I mean, you would hope a break, right, from those big teams, but when it comes to September, these are the teams like the teams that the Astros just face are the teams they'll probably see in maybe late September, October. So these are teams obviously you want them to beat, right? But again, it's early on. Uh, Rotation's not as healthy as it was promised, and it's just a lot of. I think the Astros are just like relying on a lot of unexperienced guys at times. Like for example, Dubin gave up a lot. Forrest Whitley was optioned. Sorry, just optioned earlier today. I think they're just relying. They're just trying to fill the void, fill the holes that these injuries are leaving.
Not just that, I just feel like the offense and the best word to use, like they've been saying on the broadcast, pressing. They're pressing too much. They're putting
Mhm.
pressure on themselves too much instead of just going out there and just playing baseball, just having fun. They're just trying to do too much, try to hit a home run to give the Astros a lead or hit a home run to walk off the game. When you do that, and the results are not going to show. That one is like prime example of the ninth inning. Jose Altuve popped up, Jordan Alvarez popped up, Kyle Tucker popped up. All pop ups. No one put the ball in play, which I will talk about when we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to talk about Jeremy Pena's approach. I would have loved to see something different out of that outcome, but obviously it just didn't happen. But real quick, we'll talk this episode 172. Chopped and Screw is not the Houston version. It is the ATL version because
It's a
the
good one.
Braves did chop down the Astros and swept the Astros as well. So, Angel, you want to get us started, which we'll
Yeah.
start off with Astro
Ooh,
news.
a little different this time. I like it. I like it. Let's start with some good news. And Lorenzo kind of already like mentioned it. It gave you a little foreshadow on it. Verlander's back, right? He's back in action. He'll make his season debut on Friday, which is really, I don't know. I know we talked about his minor league stats, but that's irrelevant now. I think Astros fans are happy to have Justin Verlander back. I think the Astros in general are happy to have Verlander back because they needed him in that rotation. Just to give you a little timeline, Verlander threw 2 rehab starts for both Sugarland and Corpus Christi. He threw a bullpen on Tuesday, and depending how he felt from that, Joe Espada and him were going to have a conversation. But after that bullpen, Verlander did say he did feel great, and it was just based on the decision of the Astros, which, was going to be. So, per Brian McTiger, this is what Justin Verlander said. He was happy with the way he felt physically in his rehab starts, and it's up to Joe Espada whether he gets the ball on Friday in Washington. The first thing is health, and I came out feeling good. And I quote, that's what Verlander said. Espada made the decision. He will be starting on Friday. How are you feeling with that move?
I mean, as of right now, I think the Astros need it. The
Yeah,
Astros need somebody to give them good starts. Because, like I said, the only ones that have been consistent for them is Christian Javier and Ronel Blanco.
that's pretty much it.
As of right now, Framber Valdez is still dealing with that injury, but I'm pretty sure he'll be coming off soon off the IL and make a start. But the Astros need a ace. That's their ace, Justin Verlander. I'd say, like you were talking about, the Washington Nationals aren't a team that's gonna just flat out not do anything. I mean, they're still a good team, but
CJ
I would
Abrams is good
say
too.
Exactly. CJ Abrams, one of the Padres' top prospects, got traded in that Mackenzie Gore Juan Soto deal. Yeah, he's been smashing the ball for them. But I would say this is a good step for Verlander to go against a team like the Nationals compared to a team like the Yankees, how they're playing right now, the way that Texas is, and especially just right now with the Atlanta Braves. So I think this is a good opportunity for Verlander to go out there, give the Astros give the Astros a good placement of innings, I would say, and hopefully save that bullpen for them.
Yeah, and I was just thinking right now, going back to our earlier topic, uh, about the Astros, record and stuff like that. I think on a good note is the record might show it, the final nine might not show it, but most of these games were winnable for the Astros. I think they were just
Oh yeah.
missing like a key hits. I just want to touch on that too as well. Sorry, just came to mind. But another pitcher that might be close to being back, Framber Valdez. He continues to play catch and could possibly return in the upcoming road trip. Remember, the Astros have a long road trip. They will be facing off against um, Washington, Chicago, and then they'll take a trip to Mexico City to face the Colorado Rockies. So they're out for about what till next week, right?
Yeah, they're out there. Yeah, until they don't return to Minute Maid till May.
April 30th, I think. April 30th. So yeah,
Either April,
basically,
well, kind of close to May, basically.
yeah, April 30th. So they'll be it's a long homestand, which would be again instrumental for this Astros rotation. According to Javier Gonzalez from Pelota Brava, he says Valdez may not need a rehab start as well as what he got from Joe Spot as well. So it'll be, I don't know, it was a topic last podcast. Well, there you have it. He might not need a rehab start. Now, these can change rapidly when it comes to pitchers. Depending how he feels, if Framber Valdez doesn't feel good, or they feel that he may need a little bit more time, then a possibility for a rehab starts opens up. But I think if he comes back as soon as the 15 days are up, I don't think he'll need a rehab start either.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the only thing maybe that the Astros pitching staff would be taking a close eye on if Framber Valdez doesn't go and make a rehab start, he makes his start, will be the pitch count. That's the
Yeah,
one part I would probably be interested to see if the Astros are going to keep an eye on.
and I know the Astros haven't mentioned it, but I don't know. Do you think Verlander has a pitch count?
I think so. I think he will. In the first game, I
I think so too.
want it. I'm not 100% sure. This is my opinion, but I think he will probably have a pitch count, maybe about 80 pitches, I would say.
That's the number. That's the number I was gonna say too.
Yeah, around
Yeah,
there.
about 80 pitches. Yeah, so I can see that. And then I know Forrest Whiteley just made his debut. Well, he's going back to AAA to open up a spot for Justin Verlander. So it was a short but well deserved stint in the major leagues for Forrest Whitley. I know he's been working hard. He's battled so many injuries, even a suspension, right? But he made it. He had a jersey on with the Astros. I'm sure he'll be back when, maybe September comes midseason, or if he's doing pretty good in Sugarland, I'm sure he won't stay long there.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, for Astros news, Astros manager Joe Espada has encouraged John Luis Garcia, it's another guy, and Jose Urquidy throwing today. And honestly, when we show up kind of early to the ballpark, they're always throwing. Like either when we get there, they're getting ready to throw, or they're already throwing by the time we get there. So they've been putting in that work too. I know Garcia threw a bullpen about 25 pitches off fastballs. He did touch 88, and then Jose Urquidy also threw a little bullpen. He was like, I believe you stated off air that he wasn't on the rubber, but he was like on the incline of the mound throwing
Yeah.
from there. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're putting in the work. They should. I think their timelines from being back are still set. I don't think there's any like I lost the word. I don't think
Well,
there's any
what
like
does Urquidy have a timeline? I don't think he has a timeline.
well, I know, but what we've been saying is kind of like mid June. I would say like so
Yeah.
like around there is what I meant. But they haven't had any like mishaps or anything like that. So I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing too for Astros news on a good note is that the Astros will have 2 off days. They have yet to have an
Yeah.
off day. They'll have that off day on Thursday, and then the following week they'll have another off day on, I want to say, Monday. Correct?
Yeah.
If I'm wrong.
Thursday,
Before the Cubs
Monday.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Thursday and
think that
Monday.
that's well needed rest for them because when you play a lot of games, takes a toll on your arm, takes a toll on your, the mental aspect of the game. So maybe it's
Yeah,
just the Astros just do and they need to clear their minds and get ready for the next series.
yeah, I think that's why Hater pitched today too, because I found that strange. It was 4-4 game, but there is an off day tomorrow, so that makes much more sense.
Yeah, possibility. But I think everybody is a little upset how the Astros end as in Astro fans. So if you want to vent, and this is a safe zone. This is a safe zone. You can share your comments. Let us know how you feel. We've been doing this for, I think this is going to be the third segment of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Every time the Astros will get swept, we're going to look into that and give the good, a little bit of the bad, and of course, the little bit of the ugly. So let's continue on with the good. I would say for Hunter Brown and J.P. France, that was well needed starts for not just for the Astros, but for their confidence. Brown pitched six innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, as well as J.P. France, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. I say, you got to commend those guys to go out there and pitch a great game against a tough Atlanta Braves lineup. You got guys like Ozzy Albies, which he got a fractured toe. Well, my fantasy team just got a hit right there. Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna, who Ozuna is just hitting the ball, like just mashing at 16-game hitting streak, by the way, for him. Orlando Arcia is hitting over 350, I want to say, too. So that lineup is no joke.
Arcia really was a difference maker in this series, actually. I think he started, rally and on Tuesday's game, and then today's game, he kind of tied the game. So it's been pretty special. Yeah.
Yeah, and those two guys, specifically France and Brown, have been kind of talked about. Well, if these guys come back, who's going to go to the bullpen kind of thing? No, they got to get that confidence going. JP France has had a back-to-back bad starts against the Rangers, as well as Hunter Brown coming from the Royal Series. I think he did pitch that Rangers series, I want to say, too. Yeah, he did. So for both of them, this start right here was well needed for their confidence level, trying to get the bullpen a rest, because as of right now, there's just Christian Javier, Ronel Blanco. From there, there's nobody else that has been consistent for them, and for Brown and France to do a bounce back start like that, that's well needed for the Astros.
Absolutely, and I kudos to them, because they know Framber Valdez is coming back, and they know Urquidy's coming back. They know eventually they're all coming back, and I think one of them's gonna have to have the short end of the stick. So it's up to it's up to them on that aspect. I hope they continue on this road and make it a hard decision for the Astros to see who's going in, but if they keep staying inconsistent, they make it pretty easy for the Astros.
Yeah, they just got to be pitching great baseball, and that's what they did in these two starts against the Atlanta Braves. So let's move on to the bad. Astros bullpen in these games were just tough. Some of the bullpen pieces that did pitch for the Astros did good. Seth Martinez, I believe Taylor Scott did pitch as well. Brian Abreu pitched really well for them. However, there were all 3 games very winnable, very close, that the Astros could have made a comeback for them. Josh Hader on Friday's game gave up 4 earned runs in the first inning. Remind you that the Astros were losing 2-1 in that game. If Hader would have just held it down, you give the offense a better opportunity to see if they score any runs. But Hader had a hard day at the office and got a little pretty roughed up by the Braves. Next up, we got Sean Dubin on Saturday. By the way, with him, he pitched phenomenal in the first 2 innings, I believe, in that game. I think it was 7th and 8th, or the 8th and the 9th. But he did give up 4 earned runs in the second game when Forrest Willie made his debut. He did give up some runs, but they tackled on to Dubin's pitch stat. So that's why I gave him 4 earned runs. But Dubin did a phenomenal job. I'm not going to take away nothing negative on his part, especially throwing 41 pitches in going into the 3rd inning. I think that's pretty tough. I think the Astros, in my opinion, I think they could have used another arm instead of continuing relying on Sean Dubin, because they were just losing 2-0 in that game. And taking Dubin out 30 plus pitches, then he kind of got into a little rough, sticky situation. I believe he had the bases loaded when he gave the ball up to Joe, and Joe had to go get Forrest. I think the Astros could have done a better job and maybe go get another arm fresh instead of continuing using Dubin and making his pitch count continue to go up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just having a thin bullpen at that point. Maybe that's why they try to extend someone like uh, Dubin, but I don't know. It's just hard when things aren't working out and the bullpen keeps allowing runs. It's kind of hard of like who to trust. Save this guy for later and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough decision at the end of the day, period. But my opinion, just my thoughts on that. And then the last game of the homestand, which was today's ball game, Ryan Presley gave up 2 runs, one of them being earned in the last game. Obviously, that error by Jose Abreu at first kind of hurt the Astros in that position. But if you look at that replay, though, I mean, it looked like a tough bounce. It was going
Mhm.
straight and then turned left. But at the same time, too, I mean, yeah, you especially in that game, you got to make a play when you have the lead 3-4 at that time. Um, but I just think Ryan Presley just needs a little bit more time to just kind of getting used to that role of being the setup guy for the Astros, being the closer for so many years, and you're having to take a step back this year to give the ball to Presley in the ninth. It's just something that he's continuing to try to, I would say, get used to.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you.
So yeah, that was it for the bad on the Astros bullpen. Let's move on to the ugly because more of this game was kind of on the offense, I would say. Runners in scoring position sounds like a broken record for us because we continue to talk about it every single series, and it just continues to pile on for the Astros. Monday, they were 1 for 7 with 8 left on base. Tuesday, 1 for 8 with 7 left on base, and Wednesday, 2 for 9, 9 left on base. The difference maker of this series and the last series, the Astros scored 25 runs against the Texas Rangers, and this series against the Braves. You want to give me a guess how many runs they scored?
Probably in the single digits. I don't know.
Single digits, 7 runs. Starting pitchers from that guy from Triple A. I do not know his first name by heart, but his last name was Vines. Second pitcher of the game for the Braves was Reynaldo Lopez. By credit to him, he's just pitching his butt off. I mean, he's only allowed 1 earned run in 3 starts. So credit to him, he just did a phenomenal job on the starting mound. And then Max Free kind of got roughed up this game. He did allow 4 walks. I told you in the beginning of the season he hasn't been pitching well. Just tackled on in this start, but Astros really couldn't get anything going. They couldn't get that big hit, I would say. I think the Braves always got that little soft contact blooper. Like, for instance, if you remember Luis Guillorme in that ninth inning, he had a little double blooper on the line and left, and it carried into the stands to put the icing on the cake for them to win that game in game 2. Kind of like for the Astros, it's just not been there. That big hit, big moment. I mean, it's been kind of tough on them to get anything started.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that situation here. Like they like move a little. Like they get untimely hitting. Like they get the hits. They're getting them. It's just not in those crucial moments. I think that's just been affecting them a lot.
Yeah, and then to end the ugly part, I mean, extra inning games. Obviously, they've not won any extra inning games this year. Angel, I think you had the stat for us of what their record was from last year to this year
I
in
think it was
extra inning ball games.
1 in 10. If I'm not mistaken.
1 in 10. So,
Yeah.
not a great stat. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just say dating back since last year.
Yeah, so it's just not a great stat to see that. The Astros continue to struggle with these extra inning games with that ghost, not even ghost runner on second. The runner on second starting off in the extra innings. Braves tackled on with that Orlando Arcia single to left. And the Astros had a chance. They had a chance. They pitch run for Bregman at second. They put Jake Myers just to get that speed on second. And then Kyle Tucker drew a walk. Yainer Diaz, I can't remember what he did. I just don't remember the top of my head. And Jerry Pena ends the game with a double play from Arcia to David Fletcher to Matt Olson to end the game. And after you saw Pena run down the first baseline, he just got his helmet. Just, that is just frustration. He just hit it onto the dirt and just pure frustration there. Like I said, I mean, they just can't get nothing going. And for me, what I was talking about earlier, what I'd like to see in this part of the game, if you don't see anything working out, How about do a little bit of go back to that old school mindset of baseball. Bunt, sack bunt, maybe a hit and run. And that, oh yeah, okay, there it is. Jake Myers went to third. It was first and third, one out. Kyle Tucker on first. I would have loved to see a little bit of aggression for the Astros to maybe either have a hit and run in that situation or just try to get Tucker to steal. It would have put a wrong taste if they would have told Kyle Tucker to steal and let's say Travis d'Arnaud throws him out. You got 2 outs and a run on third with Jerry Pena, who's been swinging the bat pretty good. His hitting streak did end today. But in that situation with great speed on first and a guy that can run it out of the box, I think a hit or run would have been a great option to go to in that situation, guaranteeing you get that run scored at third.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you with the hit and run aspect, not with just the straight stolen base, because you're right. Like, if he does get out, then momentum shifts there, I think, at that time, because then the Astros are just, I mean, sorry, the Braves are just one out of the way. But a hit and run, you got to try to protect them at all costs, right? So, if it's like if Kyle Tucker gets a bad jump, possibility that Pena can foul it off and nothing happens, right? But yeah, I think you're right. I think when nothing's working, going out to that traditional baseball, you could say, or like that old school baseball, I think could be a game changer at times.
It could be beneficial. And two, the Astros did say that they want to be aggressive on the base paths in spring training, and they've been doing that at the beginning of the season. But I think this opportunity right here, you have speed on first with Kyle Tucker. Jerry Pena could run it out of the box. You've seen him beat out double plays to make on fielder choices. I think this was a great opportunity to pull that out because Pena has been doing a great job putting the ball in play, hitting line drives, hitting the ball on the ground instead of hitting the ball in the air. He's made that adjustment this season. And for me, I think that would have been a great opportunity for the Astros to tackle on a run and tie the game back up to give them another fighting chance in the next inning or even during that inning.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's get some of these comments in. We got Joshua Betrash. He said, I'm definitely frustrated with how they played, but I haven't lost confidence in them. And he continued on with saying their runners in scoring position and left on base numbers have been abysmal.
They have.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, so I do agree with the lost confidence, like having lost confidence. I mean, they're still a team. I think they're just one win, one hit, one momentum shift away from turning it around.
I think
But
real quick too. I feel like they need that vocal voice, which the Astros have had through the seasons. We've talked about Carlos Correa, Martin Maldonado not being there now. Who's that guy that's going to lead? And obviously, you look at the veterans from Altuve to Bregman, but I feel like the vocal part of that game in that clubhouse, I feel like maybe it's not there.
well, it could be. I feel like Kyle Tucker slowly going into that role, as you saw that that emotion he had with the Rangers, and it led to 2 wins after that. I think he's like the quiet leader there, and it's just, but it's I don't know. It's just like I feel like they're more like of a lead by example type of guy. Like if you see, like for example, Jose Abreu taking extra reps, well, the younger athletes are going to be there taking breaks, like taking some reps too. So I think it's just more like that. Yeah, because you're right. There's no vocal leader, but I think there is leaders there. It's just
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's leaders there. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the vocal part of the game. I'm not saying vocalizing as in getting on after a guy or just verbally using explicit language or anything like that to get people going, but just picking people up, saying, "Come on," something to get that boost of energy to get going for this team. Because right now the Astros, I just don't see any boost of energy. I really don't. I would say in this game with Mauricio Dubon and Yordan Alvarez in the dugout, they were joking about Dubon hitting that home run, and at the end, of course, Alvarez and Dubon laughed it out and everything like that. They're still having fun, but games like this, I feel like you do need that vocal part.
Yeah, and shout out to Yanier Diaz too. I know, speaking of the leadership role, I've seen him when pitchers get like in a tough situation. He takes off his mask, stands up, and tries to motivate them, push them forward.
Right. So he kind of does this thing too.
Yeah, absolutely. calm the nerves out too. So I think he's been phenomenal behind the plate offensively too. I think he'll wind out to be a great catcher for the Astros. But let's move on to who's invited to the Carne Asada. And after this series, it might be a little get together after they would have, because there was this one was hard. This one was hard to pick a few. But let's start with Hunter Brown. It was a much needed outing, like you said. He had 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. And let's add JP France in there. So this would be a duel, like two people
Okay,
pitching
I
at the
see.
same.
I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, both pitchers had phenomenal bounce back outings, and I think they're the ones that will be cooking the meat. They're going to be bringing some carnitas and carnitas for sure.
Ooh, little
Yeah,
carnitas.
they'll change it up a little bit.
Change it up.
Well, with great carnitas, you need some tortillas. That's going to be Jose Altuve. He went 5 for 12 for at a 416 batting average with 1 run. Again, he went 5 for 12, but had no RBIs. Had only 1 run just because that untimely hitting, right? Those like they spread out their singles or spread out their doubles, and not really like a cluster of them at the same time, which you saw they only scored 7 runs there. And then I just got 2 more. I know we usually have a little bit more, but let's go with Alex Bregman, 3 for 8, 375 batting average, 2 RBIs, 3 walks. He walked 3 times on Wednesday. He's getting on base. I know he's been struggling a little bit at the plate, but when he can get on any way possible, it can lead to runs. Obviously, this wasn't the case this time. And he did move to the third hole. I know there was a little lineup switch on that. I think we forgot to talk about that. It's so it was typically Jose Altuve, Jordan Alvarez, and Kyle Tucker. And then Bregman, well, Spot decided to change it up a little bit. Bregman's in that 3 hole, Tucker's in that 4th hole. And I think that's gonna. I think according to China Rome, that's what's gonna be in the foreseeable future until Spot says he wants to change it back. But that might be the new Astros lineup for the top 4 or 5 hitters. And then lastly, well, you can have great carnita tacos without a good salsa. So let's bring some Kyle Tucker. He's 2 for 10 with a home run, 2 RBIs, and again 3 walks on that one. But I know there's no Cervezas, there's no beans because they play terribly.
No, I mean, real quick. I mean, we could talk about that real quick. The lineup at the end of this. Yeah, I mean, we talked about. I want to say 2 episodes ago. Is there a need for a change in this lineup? Because if the Royal Series, I would say, when they weren't producing, I mean, there was no runs scored. But then it came to the Ranger Series, and then all of a sudden the Astros kind of exploded. The offense were clicking,
Yeah.
and then comes back to this Brave Series, and then the offense has just kind of disappeared. And it looked good in the beginning. The Astros did score first with an RBI single from Bregman. I'm not RBI single from Bregman. Jordan Alvarez. Then it moved to Bregman. Then it moved to Tucker. And we've talked about, should it be righty, lefty, righty, lefty? Do we go back to maybe putting Jordan in that 4 hole, Kyle Tucker moving in the 2 spot, bringing Bregman up? What was going to work for this offense? And I want to say this game, even though it didn't look like it planned out to be, I think this is a good step in the right direction for the offense. I think putting Bregman in that 3rd spot balances the line because he just has a great eye at the plate, and you just carry that over to a guy that led the American League in RBIs last year with Kyle Tucker. So I think it's a great move as of right now. Of course, it's just been 1 game. It's a little small sample size. But at the same time, too, when you got a guy that can hit the ball like Tucker and who also displays a great eye at the plate, I think it gives you a better shot of winning some ball games. But to add on to the Altuve, he is leading Major League Baseball with the batting average of 388, and he is tied with Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani with 31 hits in the league.
I think Mookie Betts.
If we're talking about American League, then it's Jose Altuve leading that category.
I think Mookie Betts had a 5-for-5 game. I think yesterday. I think that's because
yes.
I think it was Altuve was the sole leader for hits, and for 5 hits in the ball game can really put you back up.
I can testify to that because I have Mookie Betts in my fantasy baseball team. But real quick, the team stats is interesting to me because from this series, the Astros offense just did not show up. The Astros team, like just being a team offensively, they ranked 3rd with a 268 batting average in Major League Baseball. They're 3rd with 24 home runs in Major League Baseball. They are, nope, not in that category. How about on base percentage? They're number 4 in on base percentage with a 341. OPS, they're third with 769. And team hits, they're 188 with the Dodgers leading at 190. So the offense is there. It's just maybe just not capitalizing on getting that big hit when they need it. With the run,
Yeah.
like what we talked about, runners in scoring position from all those games, it was kind of a number uno, and then Wednesday's game was a number dos. Just getting that big hit, I think that's what's going to continue to haunt them if they continue doing what they're doing.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%.
But you live to fight another day. Like we said, Thursday, the Astros will have an off day, and then they will take off to the nation's capital for a weekend series against the Washington Nationals. They are 8-10. We'll have that rematch of the 2019 World Series. But the Nationals did take 2 out of 3 from the LA Dodgers at Dodger Stadium, which, like Angel had said earlier in the show, CJ Abrams is a difference maker with this team just for the way he hits the ball and his speed across the backs. But like Angel had mentioned as well, Friday, you will see the return of Justin Verlander making his 2024 debut, which will start at a 5:45 time. He'll be going against Mackenzie Gore, who's been pitching pretty well for the National record 281, 281. And that's a Houston area code as well. ERA. But JV, last year's numbers, he started 23 games, 13-8, 322 ERA with a 113 whip. We did talk about the last episode, his vesting option, if he was going to collect, I believe, 25 million, I want to say. If he passes 140 innings, he will be collecting some money, basically. So, Angel, I got to ask you this. What are you expecting from JV's first start? Coming back from an injury, coming back from them rehab starts, allowing that many runs. He did say he's feeling good physically and mentally. What do you say about this start?
I think the only thing I'm looking for is for a healthy Verlander. Again, I believe he will have a pitch count about 80 pitches, but if he can, I'm I'm interested to see how that fastball velocity is as well. I know he's kind of pushing 95, 96 last year, but if he can stay like that, or maybe an uptick from the days off he had, that'd be pretty phenomenal for the Astros. But if that velocity starts to go down a little bit, then it might be an issue for in, in future starts.
Yes, that's a thing for Verlander. Of course, he's getting older on age. I think he's not even targeting to pitch fast. I don't think, obviously if you could pitch fast, you can pitch fast. But for him, I want to say it's just going to be command. It's just hitting your spots against a good team like the Nationals, who's been playing great baseball. This is a good test for him to see where he's at. From this game, I think he's targeted to pitch in Mexico City, I would believe. If it's not going to be
Yeah.
the Cubs, the last game of the Cubs series, it'll be in Mexico City against the Colorado Rockies. Joshua, thank you for letting us know how much. 35 million vesting option for 2025 if he passes 140 innings. But moving on to Mackenzie Gore, his last start against Oakland, 5 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. Wow, that strikeout rate is pretty good because his strikeout percentage this year is 63%. Fastball, curveball, changeup. I know that's what he has in his arsenal. The Astros did see him, I believe, when he was with the San Diego Padres, but he is a lefty, obviously, who loves hitting lefty on lefty. It's going to be just Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker. Maybe John Singleton will give bats here and there, but that you got to capitalize. You got to strike first. I think the Astros did a great job in this game. I mean, in this series against the Braves, they did score first 2 out of the 3, but at the end of the day, they did get swept. If you could continue to produce a little bit more runs and help your starting pitcher like JV, there shouldn't be no problem for them.
Yeah, and I think with Mackenzie Gore, they're going to be seeing a lot of that fastball, especially the right-handed hitters. But I think the difference between Mackenzie Gore this year and last year has been that fastball. Last year, he had a run value of -3. I know it's early on in the season, but his run value is at 2, which is really good. And a big key for that is the whiff rate on that fastball. This year is at 30.3% whiff rate. Last year was at 21.6 whiff rate. And also, he's using it more as a strikeout pitch as well. His strikeout rate on the fastball is 36.4% compared to last year, 22.2%. So it's been a big pitch for him here. And a big factor of that is velocity is up for Mackenzie Gore on that fastball. He's averaging about a high end 95 miles per hour compared to a low end 94 last year. So a much uptick on that fastball has been phenomenal for him, which also supplements those off-speed pitches he throws.
Yeah, I mean the Astros do have a bunch of hitters that love hitting the fastball. Jose Altuve is the number one, who's leading Major League Baseball with 388 batting average. Why? Because he's attacking the fastball early on in the count. Jerry Pena's been doing a great job too with that pitch. Yonder Diaz as well. So just they have to see if Astros could capitalize and strike first early on. There should be no problem this whole game until possibly the bullpen. I'm not 100% sure. We'll just have to see how that plans out. But Saturday, 3:05 start time, you got Ronel Blanco, 2-0 with a 0.86 ERA. He'll be going against Trevor Williams, who is 2-0 with a 3.45 ERA. So someone here may be looking at a no decision or maybe looking at their first loss of the season. Blanco's last start against Texas, he had the no decision, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. I would say the Astros did go on and won that game in that start. But Blanco, the way he's been pitching with his El Cambio and his fastball, the changeup and the fastball, it's been pretty good for him. It's been helping him get guys out of good, tough situations. One with the 2-1 count, with a 3-1 count, he's been throwing it with confidence, and I think that's going to continue on here. If he's going to if he's going to have confidence in that changeup, he's going to have to continue just pounding that zone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think um, it's been fundamental for his success, but I do think he has to mix in a little bit more of a slider. I know he does to right-handed hitters, but maybe like trying to put the slider inside of a left-hander where it kind of like cuts your hands off, and that'd be pretty cool because for left-handers, it's usually fastball changeup. I think if he can mix his pitches up, it'll be even more successful.
And Lopez did that. Reynaldo Lopez from the Braves did that against Jordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker. He didn't care if they were the toughest son of a guns out there. He did throw that backdoor curveball, and he did get it for strikes. So possibly, like Angel said, they do have some lefties. Like, is Abrams a switch hitter? I'm not too sure about that. I know he hits lefty. You're gonna see Jesse Winker, Kibu Ruiz is a guy too as well. So they do have some lefties in this lineup. Joey
He's
Gallo's
just a
another
lefty.
one, a lefty. Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
they have a good amount of lefties in this lineup that he could possibly throw that back door. But fastball and changeup has been the huge success. And like Angel said, if he could continue to establish that slider in his spots, then he could be looking good. Williams' last start though at Oakland, 5 1/3, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Don't really have a lot of info on Trevor Williams. I'm pretty sure that the Astros have seen him a lot. He did pitch a lot of his time over there in Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh Pirates, but really don't have nothing on him. Just like I continue saying, attack
I
early.
think, but
No, I'm just gonna say attack early and get runs on the board.
yeah, other thing with Williams is you are going to see all of his arsenal, all of his pitches. Uh, doesn't matter left-hander, right-hander. He throws a four-seamer, sweeper, changeup, sinker, and slider. He throws them all. Obviously, more the fastball. It's he's thrown it 89 times, but the sweeper 50, changeup 46 times, sinker 35 times, and slider 30 times. So he's going to mix it up a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of arsenal, especially if you have like a 5 or 6 pitch. I mean, that's how it sounded. You're gonna throw whatever. You're gonna throw the kitchen sink, whatever it's gonna work out. So he just getting a feel for his pitches. That's what's gonna help him. But Sunday, 12:35 start time. These times, Angel, and they just sound so crazy. 5:45, 3:05, and then 12:35. My gosh. But Christian Javier, El Repti, is on the mound for the Astros. He has a 0-2 record. No, that don't sound right. He has a 1-1 record, I believe. Anyway, we'll scoot that out the way. He'll be going against Mitchell Parker with a 1.0360 ERA. Christian Javier's last start against the Texas Rangers, like I said, he's been one of the consistent starters on this team. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. He's done a fabulous job with his fastball. It just looks like he's established it a little bit more. The rising fastball is there. His slider has been working as well. He's been throwing more of the changeup too. So if he continues pounding that zone, hitting his spots, there should be no reason that he shouldn't be struggling against a team like this, who does have some righties on this team. Joey Meneses is one of them. But Mitchell Parker, on the other hand, he did pitch at San Jack. So shout out to all the San Jack Junior College JUCO routes out there, San Jack Gators. He is a rookie with only one career start. His last start versus the Dodgers was pretty good. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Andrew, you got anything on him? You're on mute.
I was like, you got me on that one. I wasn't prepared for that one. Give me a second.
I mean, okay, so if you don't have nothing real quick, I mean,
Well,
typically with rookies, I mean, the Astros do a good job on them. They do a good scouting report on them, but at the same time, too, it's your first time seeing them. Not everything is
Well,
going to go your way, especially how the offense has been playing in this last series.
I got you. So he is a 22 ranked prospect. Mitchell Parker is in Major League
In the
Baseball.
in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, so
Okay.
22 ranked prospect Major League Baseball. He's a three arsenal guy. He throws 14 fastball, curveball, and split finger. In this last
Mm.
part, though, he only threw a split finger 5 times. It was more of a forcing, forcing fastball curveball. Now, do I expect that to happen again? Probably not. The Astros, I'm sure, are seeing the same information we are seeing. But they probably have it even more. They probably have like video with the spin rate and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if he implements that split finger a little bit more this start. I think that's just a bit to be worry about too. But I mean, I don't see why the Astros can have success. His fastball averages about 92.1 miles per hour, curveball 79, and that's finger about 85 miles an hour. So I think the Astros should have success off this guy.
They should. That's the key part that you said that they should have success. But guys like Jose Abreu, who's been struggling with the fastball, not to bash on him, but this could be a guy that he can kind of have a bigger upper hand on, just depending on how he plays and seeing what goes. Because as of right now, it's kind of like looking more John Singleton playtime than Jose
Yeah,
Abreu. He's batting under 100. I want to say what 78 the last time I checked. It could
yeah,
be 60 something at this point, but I think there's a good chance for him if he does play. Take advantage of it. Take
yeah.
advantage of hitting off a rookie.
And my apologies. 22 ranked prospect for the Nationals, not baseball.
So you see, I figured. I was like, okay, 22 prospect, and you're barely making you only have one career start.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, shoot, I mean, they can. You never know what could happen out of this series. I think this is a good time for the Astros to take that off day, well needed, regroup, refocus, mentally prepare themselves for a three series. That's three road series, I would say,
yeah,
going
yeah.
from Washington to Chi-Town to Mexico City, which that should be fun for them. Jose Urquidy being a native of Mexico, from Mexico, going to be out there. I think it's going to be fun for them, but we're getting too ahead of ourselves. First, they got to take one step at a time, and they got to try to at least win the series against the Nationals, because if they continue digging a deeper hole, it's going to be harder for them to come out.
Yeah. But there's no round the horn today, so
I will
should be
say
good.
this for around the horn real quick. There's only
But
one thing I would like to talk about. Whitey Herzog did pass away.
okay,
The White Rat had success with the Kansas City Royals, as well as the 1980 St. Louis Cardinals. And I was looking into this more, Angel, real quick. It's called Whitey Ball. And back then in the 80s, he kind of concentrated with defense, pitching, and speed. He had Willie McGee. He had Ozzie Smith. He had, I don't know if he had Lou Brock, actually. I know that he had those two guys, but that was the way he played, was speed, defense, and pitching. And I think when I thought about today's game in the in the 10th inning with that hit and run, because you have speed at first, and he had Jerry Pena at home, I think it would have been beneficial to do that part. But yeah, just wanted to say that as your phone continues to blow up.
yeah.
But you
No,
got any, yeah, you see, look at that. I mean, I don't know. I guess you got the president calling you at this time, but you got anything else before we sign off?
no, just thank you for listening out. I know it was an early one, about 5:20 when we started recording. Thank you for being out. Thank you for being, awesome fans to our podcast, and we appreciate everything.
Yeah, look out. We did talk about doing a live episode of the White Rhino maybe next month. So continue to just keep your eyes out for that. As we did that before opening day, that was very fun, and being able out there to hang around with other people, other Astro fans, I think was awesome. But yeah, just be on the lookout. May would be probably a target month for us to do another live show at the White Rhino. Joshua, we appreciate you, man, sticking with us. I enjoyed the show as always. But until then, we'll have to see what happens on this off day on Thursday, and then see what the Astros do of this series against the Nats. But until then, y'all stay safe. Have a blessed weekend. And of course, we'll talk to you at the end.
Peace.